the
Thanks so much. Greeting to everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this forum. I will share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Well, I'm delighted to listen to some of the presentation. I'm sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. Well, I'm not a person of ICT, frankly. I'm a historian working on Islamic studies. And now my recent research is on women economic empowerment through digital technologies and tolerance values. There's one more. I will shortly pick like a general finding of the research, and hopefully we'll get some insight from you, people who used to with the ICT. Right? So mostly I will mention about the Mompreneurs business, focusing on rural areas in Indonesia, and then how Mompreneurs are using digital technology, and then the relationship between womanhood, religion, and tolerance, especially in entrepreneurship. And the last things I will comment about women empowerment in general. Basically, we have a big question, but one or two questions is actually to what extent this effort, I mean, in digital technology impacted Muslim women in entrepreneurship. And well, in Indonesia and some of the countries with the Muslim majority, some of people, especially in rural areas, have, let's say, kind of a problem related to culture, tradition, and religion. So it's like a question whether religion becomes barrier for women to the entrepreneurship and use digital technology. A little bit background about the research. This is teamwork, actually. Me and my colleagues, including from UNSW and from UIN, Jakarta, State Islamic University of Yogyakarta, Jakarta. So mostly we find that in the context of hustling in the world, there's most government giving support for women empowerment, economic empowerment, including in using digital technologies for the marketing, etc. And this has happened also in Indonesia. Not only government, but also civil society organization, big corporations, universities, all hand by hand supporting, having a program for enhancing women, empowering women, especially in entrepreneurship. And we've seen that most of the program related to digital technology. And our assumption that, especially during pandemic, it is difficult to sell offline, then digital technology can help mompreneurs, especially in rural areas, for marketing. Findings that we find recently in Indonesia, of course, there is a very big potential of using digital technologies for micro, small, medium entrepreneurs in Indonesia. However, mostly the use of digital technology, training, support from government and many other parties has benefited mostly urban middle class women, not rural areas, or lower class. So we are trying what happened, what happened with the rural communities? They are not getting most benefit from this program, or what happened. And we find that mompreneurs remain having problem in using digital technology, and then we try to find out. And this is the research is conducted in 3 provinces, in we say like conservative provinces in West Java, namely West Java, South Sulawesi, and West Nusa Tenggara, 2019, 2020, halfway in the middle of London. This is action research. It means that we not only like asking and do observation, but we do training and do empowerment, do advocacy program. Mostly while do research, we try to explore and also promote the potential for tolerance through economic empowerment activities for all women using digital technology. So we are thinking that digital technology not only used for the benefit of marketing, selling, entrepreneurship, but it has hidden benefit for tolerance. In certain places, especially in Indonesia, tolerance is very crucial for the community. So, what's the mompreneur doing in business? So basically, there is no problem at all when we ask and we do advocacy and also implementation and training. No problem at all. They can negotiate with local tradition and use moderate interpretation of religious teaching to advance themselves for their business and the environment, including using digital technologies, mobile phones. No problem at all. And no problem in doing entrepreneurship. There is some assumption in certain communities that people with very conservative tradition will very difficult to let their women to work to do entrepreneurship, but this is not the case. Even though in very conservative area, women have freedom to do working and entrepreneurship. So if you see the table here, oh sorry, this is in Indonesian language. So 98% said the mompreneurs receive highly support from the family. Family means especially husband, and no challenge at all from the family. But in certain case, of course, there is like small challenge for family. And then, so I think the problem of women in doing business, when we ask women, sorry, I forget to mention that we engage with about 100 mompreneurs in these 3 provinces. So we ask them, especially what kind of challenge when they do their business. So, of course, family is not the challenge. If you look at this, marketing is about 19%, and then self-capacity, most of them are only for primary school education, and of course money. So we think that if we solve something related to marketing, it will help them to market their small business. And when we So we do a kind of training. We train these ladies and mompreneurs to use different type of digital technology. Well, what we mean digital technology is more advanced actually, from WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Google Business, and marketplaces. In Indonesia, we have a number of marketplaces. There are some findings, but I just took like before and after using WhatsApp and Facebook. There is an increase, but this is not really, well, I mean, like not really surprising. That after training, there is. So after training, there is an increase, of course, but whether after the training they will use knowledge, skill to sell their product, it is not that simple actually, because most of mompreneurs that we train is actually have been using Facebook, Instagram for a long time, but they are not really have capacities to use this social media for marketing. Because marketing, of course, this woman should have not only skill but also knowledge, content, good content, etc. And not only that, actually, some of the training that they previously attend are not friendly for women in terms of the place very far from their village, in terms of the time. Mostly women in rural areas, they focus mostly to cooking and take care of the children. So mostly the training given by the government are not really fit for this woman. But let's say we find so many cases of our trained mompreneurs that the use of social media, website, and marketplaces has contributed to enhance their business marketing. Some of them are very successful in marketing their product. And this is something related to tolerance, and we find that this digital technology also enhancing their inclusiveness and tolerance. So they learn a lot from others, and they can interact with, well, this is Muslim, so interact with non-Muslim, different ethnic group, different religious belief, because mostly they are living in highly like 80% or 90% Muslim, so they never had experience to interact with other ethnic or religious communities. So this is one hidden, we say hidden benefits from digital technology. And with that benefit, an assumption from other previous research that women might be influenced by current increasing trend of religious conservatism. In receiving interpretation of religion. So they not directly take one interpretation. I think can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think maybe I'll get stop my video. It is unstable here. Okay, if I might continue. So our finding on the relationship between womanhood, religion, tolerance, and entrepreneurship. That the assumption that women could not do entrepreneurship or could not use digital technology, it is because of religious belief and because of local tradition. This is not true, even in very conservative areas, in rural areas. Even in very conservative interpretation, conservative families, they are supporting women to do entrepreneurship because mostly entrepreneurs, they do not need to go outside at home, but still in home. So mostly families are very supportive for their wives or mothers doing business online, right, from home. And there is a kind of negotiation carried out by women regarding their cultural and religious values, and this provide a positive impetus for the development of mompreneurs in rural areas. Okay, and I repeat again, there is no problem in accepting digital technology, but there is a problem in using it for advanced use for marketing because of low education, because of the gadget is very simple, not smartphone, for example, etc. So digital technology has contributed to marketing in mompreneurs business. And also in opening inclusive values and tolerance among community. So, and okay, this is one example of families that we do in that interview. So there is a kind of negotiation among family on how women, while perceiving, while doing their religion, they can do Islamic teaching, they can do entrepreneurship. So, and the support of family is very high, including for, if you see this woman using total headscarf, yeah. And I think the last one, it is general comment actually about women empowerment in general in Indonesia. In the case of Indonesia, we have seen a number of like women heroes. So women empowered other women, women empowering other women. This happened in many local communities in rural areas. And we think this is very potential to get these women could learn digital technologies and then to spread the use of digital technologies for their marketing. And the empowering women through digital technology education and e-commerce, be an opener of insight and awareness of women about diversity. I think this is a point of tolerance that I talked previously. And we find that mompreneurs are open and motivated to collaborate and interact in business with the wider community without discriminating race, culture, and religion. Okay, and adapting. I'm sorry, for a second. Oh, I'm sorry. Adapting to technology remains challenge. course, after like almost 1.5 years in rural areas, we have been observing and did ourselves some advocacy. We find that adopting technology, digital technology, remain challenge for rural Muslim mompreneurs. I think it is not because of religion, not because of local tradition, but mostly due to the lack of education, access, capital, infrastructure, and culture. We believe that empowering women in digital technology should use friendly methods for women, especially in rural areas. Friendly method means that like training methodology, and which is quite proper and relevant and fit with the schedule of women and with their culture. I will stop there, and yeah, would love to have your question now. Thank you.
So, Prof. Amelia, we have a question for you from Melissa, Dr. Melissa, like related to what the other presenter have mentioned in our session, that often women, especially in rural areas, do not have access to their own gadget and share it with other family members. Did you find this as well in your research, and how this has influenced their entrepreneurship ventures?
Yes, correct. That we find this also in many cases of our mompreneurs under our research. When we ask, for example, what happened? Why don't you answer the request for someone want to buy product? They said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know, because the gadget has been used by my son, etc. So, but there is about like a kind of like 20%. Another 20% actually, the teenagers of the family, mostly daughter, help the mothers using the gadget. So I think the family members not only becoming hindrance because they only have one gadget, but daughters, yeah, family members can also help these mompreneurs, mothers, especially for those who are not familiar with Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Okay, so I have one more question. Is the entrepreneurial activities conducted by these women connected with the level of tolerance amongst these women, as in the more like entrepreneurial they are, the more like they are the more they become tolerant with non-Muslims?
So if I'm not mistaken, your question is whether the more they use the digital technology, the more they are tolerant
with non-Muslims.
With non-Muslim. Yes, I think there is one important factors because of using digital technology will open up their minds, but that's not the only factor. There is other factors that provide tolerance, namely from the previous information, previous religious background they have. But when we see in our cases, the more they use, especially Facebook, Instagram, the more they see the various religious tradition, and it increase their tolerance. But I'm sorry, I don't have very like percentage, you know, for this answer.
So is there any other question? Thank you, Prof. Amelia, for your wonderful presentation and